Hi everyone, this is just going to be a really quick video, and if you haven't watched my previous video or really had any issues with the plates, this will probably make not much sense to you at all really. But I've noticed recently, and I've had quite a few people leave comments or message me asking about the platforms. I think what's happened is a lot of you have watched my video Beginner's Guide to the Big Shot, Sizzix Big Shot. And because my video was done, actually it's probably about 2 years ago now, but it's using the newer version of the plates. I think a lot of you have picked up second-hand Big Shots and have watched my video, and it doesn't make much sense to you because your machine has come with this older style of platform where you had a hinge. Now yours might not be as long as this because there were two different versions of these, but I haven't got a shorter one here. When the Big Shot first came out, it had this long extended platform where you had your base platform, then you had this red thin adapter die. This was for using embossing folders. So for embossing folders, you would leave it like that and feed it through like so. And then for thin metal dies, you would use it like this and then just use your cutting pads on top, similar to the new version. What Sizzix did first of all, a lot of people found this cumbersome, and it is because it's already long. If you've then got to open it all the way out and then feed it through your machine, it was really a bit awkward. So they overcame that by making a shorter version, but then they simplified it even further. And basically what they've done is try to simplify it so that you have a base platform now and just one adapter. So if you've watched my other videos where I talk about if you're using embossing folders, you just use this platform. If you're using thin dies, you add in this. What's confused you is, of course, if you've bought a second-hand machine and you've got this old platform, I don't mention this red one at all because, of course, it's not applicable. So if you've got this older version, just think of it as all of this together is the same as this and this. So in terms of thin dies, you're just going to use it like this. What they did basically to make it simplified is they made the base platform on the new version just slightly thicker, only not even, it's like 0.5 millimetre. It's barely noticeable, you can just feel it. But that did away for the need for this, because this is very thin, this red one, and without, that's kind of about the same as that. So they've just simplified it by only giving you one adapter, which has made it much more straightforward, and I think the new version is a huge improvement. The one thing I will say, if you've still got one of these older platforms and you've upgraded your machine and day to day you're using the new version, don't chuck out your old version, because it's quite handy, because the base platform on its own is just slightly thinner than the new version. If you're doing things like running through a 3D embossing folder with mat board or something really thick, it's too thick to go through with the new platform. But you can get away with slightly heavy materials with this old platform. So if you're upgrading your machine perhaps and getting rid of an old one, keep your platforms, because it is always, when you're playing around with different materials and depths, at the end of the day, the Sizzix Big Shot works on the principle of pressure. So if you give yourself as many options as possible in terms of shims and different depths, then it's going to be useful. So anyone that's got any of the Eileen Hull journals and likes to use leather and things like that will know how useful it is to have this old one that has got that just slight different depth. Now, I don't want to confuse things even more, but I'm going to briefly mention it just because if you've bought a second-hand machine, it could have come with all sorts of different things. There was one other platform that's still available actually, and that's the magnetic platform. If you've got a magnetic platform, just treat it in the same way you would as your new platform with the adapter. because if you look at the depth, they're the same. So if you are using thin metal dies with the magnetic platform, you just need to use the magnetic platform and then your 2 clear plates, because obviously this has been made slightly thicker because you don't want to put something in between the magnetic platform and your dies, because it's going to make it not so effective in terms of the magnetic platform. So I didn't want to confuse things by bringing that into the mix, but I thought I'll mention it because I'm sure if you're buying second-hand machines, you could be getting all sorts of extra bits and bobs thrown in with them. So I hope that clarifies it and I haven't confused you even more. But I did want to mention it because I know lots of you have ended up with these older platforms and you don't quite know how they work in comparison to the new ones. If you've got any questions though on this, just leave a comment below and I'll reply. But I hope that's cleared it up for those of you that were a bit confused. Thanks for watching. See you soon.